I'm going to act as your business receptionist, reaching out to a new lead who just inquired on Facebook about a roof replacement. I'll ask a few qualifying questions like your AI receptionist would. Are you ready to begin the role play?
If you're an agency working with local businesses and you're providing AI agents that pick up the phone and dials, answers phone calls, replies to every single message, and follows up across every channel 24/7, this is the platform for you. Now, in this video, I'm going to walk you through and give you a preview of what the platform looks like in the back end once you actually subscribe. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to log in. I'm going to log in through Google. All right, cool. So obviously when you first log in, you're going to see your sub account or your workspace, excuse me, your agency workspace. And right here, you're going to be able to manage all your sub accounts or all your clients via sub account. Now over here, you're going to be able to have as many sub accounts or clients as needed, depending on what plan you use. We do have an unlimited plan, which in essence, you can have unlimited clients in this workspace and you're going to be able to manage every single one of them, and each one will have their own AI agents for outbound calls, inbound calls, and messaging throughout different channels, whether it's Facebook, Messenger, Instagram DMs, as well as a chat widget that can be embedded on a website. All right. So right now I created this Roofing Pros sub account, right? So for this example, but if you were to actually create one, let's say you close a deal, you're working with a new client, all you need to do is new sub account, put in their information. You could even put their credentials in so that they can have access to that sub account as well. All right. So let me go into Roofing Pros. Now, this is the main dashboard. You're going to be able to track performance, right? How many phone calls have been made, how many answered, how many chat messages have been sent out, how many responded, how many appointments were booked, how many minutes were used, average minute duration. You're going to be able to track everything in here in real time, as well as an AI performance insight generator that will essentially read your complete dashboard and give you an idea of what AI agents are performing the best, how to improve, all that stuff. All right. Now let's go to conversations. In conversations, you're going to be able to see, and this is for text messages or DMs, for messages, I guess you can just say. Right here, you're going to be able to see the chat messages live once connected to the CRM lead connector. And you're going to be able to see all the messages come through in real time for every single customer or lead. AI agents is where you build AI. All you need to do is just say create AI agent. You can configure, on a blank canvas, or you can have the AI wizard create an AI agent for you and it will build a prompt. It will do everything for you. Now, if we were to, once you create one, you can just hit configure. And you're going to be able to edit and make changes to this one. This one's just Chloe, our self-selling agent that I just built. And this is for the orb widget that I'm going to show you guys in a bit how to set up, right? For the orb widget, the only thing we need to worry about is the inbound greeting, right? Channel, right? We don't need to turn this on. We can keep it off because this is only for chat. So if this AI assistant is going to be used for chat, we just enable it, and we can just kind of set everything up. Concise, keeping the messages short and simple. The channel you want it to respond on. You can trigger an outbound call directly from an SMS message. So if you were to enable this, you can essentially choose whatever agent you want the SMS agent to trigger, or to have the agent call the lead. And you put a description. So for example, when the contact asks to be called, right? So they say something like, call me, they request a phone call, they want to speak with somebody on the phone. This AI agent will communicate with whatever agent you want making an outbound call. So if you had a different AI agent, let's say for a specific scenario, and they request a call or whatever it is, you can have any agent call that specific lead, right? And another cool feature, I'll just turn that off. Another cool feature is that once you set up the chat widget, right, embedded on the website, that chat widget can switch to SMS. So let's say somebody starts a conversation with a chat widget on the website. They're busy. Something came up. They have to rush out, and they respond, "Hey, listen, I can't. I don't have time. I'll just reach back out at a later time." The AI agent can literally just say, "Hey, that's not a problem. Just give me your phone number, and I'll just send you a quick text message. That way we can continue the conversation, through us via SMS, right? And if you enable this, you can essentially choose whatever agent you want, or the same AI agent, and you can trigger it by whatever you want as a description. So pretty cool stuff. And then you can set up human-like texting, response delay, purposeful typos, and you can set this up to like 3, 4%. I like 3%. It's kind of like the sweet spot, I feel, where it's not exaggerated. And then the double texting. So instead of texting one whole big message, it separates it into two messages instead of one long one, which I feel is better, you know, as far as readability. Once people see a very long message, they're too lazy to read it. So we want to avoid that. We want to make it as we want to keep the conversion rates as high as possible, right? And by doing this, you want to keep the messages concise, and you want to do maybe double texting, right? So it makes it super simple for people to just read it very quickly, and then maybe hopefully respond to the message. All right, so I'm gonna just turn this off. We don't need this for the orb assistant, right? And that's what I'm essentially gonna use this for. Prompts, right? Prompts is very simple. I mean, you can just set up a prompt. I set one up for this specific scenario. It's a self-selling agent that does a role play for any service-based business. Doesn't matter what industry they're in. It just goes through a role play, asks them a couple of quick questions, and then essentially, you know, I mean, if you have this on a regular AI assistant, it'll schedule them in. For the orb, it's not going to schedule them in. It's just simply for them to kind of test it and experience the AI live. So essentially, I wouldn't turn these on because the AI orb widget won't have access to any variables from the CRM that it's connected to. All right. Then you have the knowledge base. If you have a knowledge base, you can create one, and then you could just give the AI access to it. So if you were to insert whatever knowledge base, it will literally just insert knowledge base, and then it will put whatever knowledge base you want inserted into it. So now it will have access to that specific knowledge base. If you have multiple knowledge bases here, you can choose as many as you want. Style guardrail, response guidelines. These are additional prompts or instructions for the AI. Voice, right? You have two options. We made it super simple, and I feel like I chose the best of the two. And as time goes by, you guys already know. I mean, we're already far ahead in the AI space, and I feel like the voices are just getting better and better and better, and they're just improving. You know, like for example, Lemon Labs, the V3 voices, which are more expressive, they're more cultural realistic voices. They're a little bit more expressive, but it does have a little bit more latency. Now, latency is, I feel like that's going to be for another video. It's a very very important topic that people don't understand necessarily, or not everyone understands. When AI is having a conversation with a lead or with anybody, depending on the model, right? If it's very expressive, these are new models, it's going to be a little bit slower, and you need to understand that we're giving the AI so much information, so much data to remember. And no matter how much we try, it's still going to have some sort of latency, even on the faster models like Flash. Flash is super fast, and I think this is kind of like the go-to if you're looking for speed and quality. But if you're looking for expressive, more human-like, a Lemon Labs V3 is definitely the best one. But there is some sort of latency, right? No matter how hard you try to improve that, it's going to be very difficult because, again, we're giving the AI access to a knowledge base. We're giving it access to a prompt. We're giving it access to the contact information from a CRM. We're giving it access to tools and functions that it's going to call up and use to be able to schedule appointments, to be able to tag that specific lead, to be able to send message, to be able to do so many different things. And the more information we provide the AI, the more latent it's going to be, right? And you need to understand that. And we do everything we can to improve it by reducing the prompt, by keeping the prompt a little bit shorter, maybe 700, 800 characters. So we try to do our best in the back end to kind of make it so that it's at the least latent as possible. But no matter how hard you try, it's still going to have that a little bit of latency. It's still going to be there, right? No matter how hard you try, it's impossible to get rid of it. So what we do is we try to improve it in different ways. And I'll go over another way later on in the call settings. So you have different voices. You can import voices. Keep in mind some voices, depending on whether you want to enable multilingual. Some voices are American voices. Some are Australian voices, specifically British accent voice. We have Latin American voices. So depending on the voice you use, let's say if you choose an American voice, and that American voice speaks another language, it's going to have a little bit of an accent, but it speaks it very well. Just keep that in mind. It speaks it extremely well, but it will have a little bit of an accent. Now, if you were to get a Spanish speaking voice, like Latin American speaking voice, well, it's going to have an accent when it speaks English, right? So you have to keep that in mind. But again, with these new voice models, it switches languages and it sounds really good. All right, so keep that in mind. Now for 11b3, there are a good amount of voices, a good amount of languages that it speaks, right? So I think it's pretty cool. You could disable this if you want. If you just want it to speak, if you just want it to speak English, you can disable this. You don't need it. Or if you want it to speak multiple languages, you can turn it on and choose whatever languages you want it to speak. You don't have to choose them all, but you can literally just choose one, two, three, four, five, or six of them, whatever you want, and then just keep those on. And then this AI will only speak those languages. All right, and you can kind of switch between both models. This model only has 32 different languages. This one has 74. All right, just keep that in mind, and choose whichever one you want. I personally, V3 is a little bit slower when it speaks, so the speed, I like raising it just a tad. Maybe you could do like 1.2 or 1.3. Test it out. If you feel like it speaks too slow or too quick, reduce it or increase it little by little. All right, I wouldn't increase it by all the way, all at once. No, you increase it by 1 or point 0.1, 0.2, just to test it out, see how you like it, and then just kind of start making the changes gradually. All right. Stability, natural, turn taking, I like keeping it high. And then sensitivity, keeping it between like 80, 85. And then that's basically it. And then AI model, I personally like Claude Sonnet. I keep it there. Works extremely well. Call settings. Now, one of the things that I feel is, I guess, the most important is the tool execution behavior, the pre-tool speech. And earlier when I was talking about latency, what we did in the back end, right, is that when this is enabled and the AI is calling up a specific tool, let's just say somebody's interested in booking an appointment, so the AI is searching or fetching the time slots, right? The amount of time that it takes for the AI to search for those time slots, it's maybe 1 or 2 seconds, depending on the AI model. The V3 one takes 1 or 2 seconds. The Flash is much quicker, right? And again, since V3 is a bigger model, a more expressive model, it's a little bit more latent, right? And then adding on all the information and data that you're giving it and providing it, including the tools, makes it a little bit more latent. So what we do to reduce the perceived latency is by, as it's searching for the tool, it's saying a specific phrase like, yeah, let me check what time slots we have available, right? So instead of a 2 second latency, maybe it reduces it to like 1 second, but it's still a 2 second latency. But since it's saying this phrase while it's searching it, it seems like it's much quicker, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But again, this is like for a whole other video I'm gonna be making. That way you guys can understand it a little bit better. I think it's super important to understand when you're building these models, not only for yourself, but for your clients. Sometimes clients are like, oh, how come it's a little bit on the slow side? It takes a little bit too long to respond. You can explain it to them. And if they don't like that, right, and you're using V3, then you could just switch up to Flash, right? And later on, when I set up the orb and I test it out in front of you guys, you're going to see how V3 behaves. All right. So that's basically it on the pre-tool speech. Voicemail detection, we can turn that off. It's an orb. And then everything else, I'll go over on another video when I kind of go over how to build an AI agent. Intelligence, interaction memory is super valuable in the platform. I think this is kind of like one of the most valuable features we have, because the AI in any channel whether it's text or voice, inbound, outbound calls, it's going to have access to past conversations that it had with specific leads or contacts, right? So if, you know, an AI had a conversation with somebody over the phone, and for whatever reason, let's say through text, whatever reason, they stopped responding, and they were at like the second qualification question, right? I'm just giving you an example. And then you have a follow-up sequence in your CRM, right? Like an automation. And the AI calls them back and they respond. Well, now the AI is not going to start the conversation all over. It's going to kind of summarize what we were talking to them about, right? Especially if they don't remember who we are. We'll kind of go over briefly who you are, who we are, why we're calling, summarize a little bit of the past conversation, and then continue the conversation where it left off, which is the second question, right? Super valuable, guys. Honestly, I think this is a great feature we have, um, and it's really going to change the game on how AI interacts with humans. Uh, for this example, I'm going to just leave it off because it's for an orb. We don't need to worry about it. And the orb will always have access to the correct date and time in whatever time zone you're in, right? So if you're in you know, Australia, right, you can just essentially choose whatever time zone you're in, and the AI will this will change to the correct time zone time, and the AI will always have access to this time. Okay, and then, right, like I mentioned before, all the tools that your AI will have access to, right? You're talking about end call, schedule a callback, transfer a call, trigger an outbound call, check availability, book an appointment, reschedule, cancel, add a tag, remove a tag, update a contact information, create a contact, add a note, send an SMS message, right? And I guess you can, as an example, you can literally send an SMS message during the conversation, like a phone call, like an outbound or inbound call. During the conversation, yeah, let me send that information to you right now. Hold on. Boom, AI will send them a text message. Switch to SMS when you're using the widget. Trigger a workflow within the CRM. Update an opportunity stage within the CRM. So a lot of tools that are already pre-built in the platform. All you need to do is just turn it on. That's it. If you're doing a tag, turn it on. Boom, and now you create whatever tags. When you create a tag, you name the tag. Let's just say, for example, hot lead. You put a description as to, you know, when should the AI tag the lead or tag them hot lead. For example, when a contact shows strong interest in the purchase, right? Boom, hot lead, and it tags them right away. Remove a tag. The AI will have access to your CRM information, right? So if you have, you know, multiple tags, you can search it, and you can essentially choose whatever tag you're going to use and put a description as to when the AI should remove this tag, right? Create a contact information, add a note, transfer a call. You can essentially transfer multiple calls to different phone numbers, right? To an AI or to a human. And you can essentially uh, have a schedule, right? So if like, let's say you're working with a client and they only want the transfers to go through Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 p.m., then the AI will know only those times it's going to transfer calls. Anything outside of those business hours, boom, you can put whatever you want the AI to say. Hey, you know, our team is currently unavailable. If you want to call back during business hours, or you can essentially say, if you want, I can schedule you in, or whatever it is, right? You can just kind of have the AI say whatever you want. That's it. I'm going to keep on call on because this is for an orb, and then I'm just going to save it. Keep in mind, these are all the functions that the AI will have access to. And again, like I said, all of this creates latency. Right? No matter how hard, like how much you want to avoid latency, it's impossible. It's going to always have some sort of latency. Whether it's an extremely fast model or a more expressive model, which is a little bit more latent right now, right? Obviously, as time goes on, those more expressive models, they're going to improve and they're going to become much more quicker, right? And you can see the ultra fast flash is 75 millisecond latency. This one's about like maybe 100, 200 or something like that. I don't know the exact number. But again, I'll I'll show you on the orb. But you can also test it out right here by clicking this button, and you can essentially hear it.
This is Chloe from Sky AI. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
All right, and you can interact with it. Um, Obviously, the whole point of this is so that you can interact with AI and make adjustments as you go, right? So if it's saying something you don't want it to say, you come here, all right, let me look at the prompt, let me make those adjustments, right? Same thing with chat. If you're having the conversation, right, if you're creating a chat assistant, you can essentially just test it out, make sure everything is working properly, and then make the adjustments as needed, right? You can see here I'm having the conversation with the AI assistant via chat and or via text message. She's responding back, hey there. I'm Chloe from Sky AI. We help businesses like yours implement AI solutions. I'd love to learn more about your roofing business and show you how AI could help with your lead handling. Right, that's it. Um, all right. So over here, I was wondering why I was saying roofing pros. I'm going to switch this over to this. First things first, I will need your business name and main product or service so I can set up a role play. Mind sharing those. All right, that sounds a little bit better. Um, all right, you can change this to, we'll change this to Voxinity AI. Let me just make sure there's nothing else that says Sky AI. I think that's it right here. Hold on. Here. All right, Voxinity, because this is going to be the greeting. So we want to change that. We're only worried about the inbound greeting because this is an orb, and the orb is kind of works like an inbound call, right? The orb starts the conversation, right? So essentially, we don't need to worry about the call configuration because it's as long as it's an orb, automatically knows starts the conversation. So even if you have something here as the outbound greeting, let's say you're using this orb for multiple things. I'm sorry, you're using this AI agent for multiple things. It's gonna ignore the outbound greeting. It's just gonna go straight to the inbound greeting, and it knows it's just gonna start the conversation right away, and it's just gonna say this inbound greeting. All right, and then keep in mind, this is the greeting. So when you start the prompt, you start it as far as like what it's gonna say after the greeting, right? So right here, state purpose, learn about their business and demonstrate AI capabilities. Also keep in mind when you're prompting, and this again will be for another video, it's better to give the AI instructions on what you want it to do rather than what to say. And you're going to realize that it's going to be a lot more conversational when it's having the conversations. AI is obviously extremely smart. So if you just give it instructions on what you want it to do, it's essentially going to conversate and be more, it's going to be more conversational. It's going to be more personalized. Uh, it's going to sound much better. All right. So that's basically it on that knowledge base. Nice thing about the knowledge base is that if you have a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, you can import it right here by just putting the link. You can name it. You could essentially have it auto sync every 15 minutes or so, or you can manually auto sync it and then import it, and it's going to appear right here so that the AI agent will now have access. If you wanted to, you could just turn it on and choose the correct one. If you have multiple ones, you can choose the one that you want that AI agent to have access to. Phone number is all you need to do. Connect your Twilio account, SID, and authentication token. Um, Very simple to connect it, and then you can import all the phone numbers that you have into it, and then assign it to whatever AI agent you want to assign it to. Right. So if you come here, if I was to have a phone number, I can just assign any phone number to this, AI assistant. All right. Call routing for another video, but it kind of works similar to how can I explain it? Let's just say, for example, you're working with a client. They want their team to answer the calls during business hours, but they want the AI to answer calls after hours, right? In the evening and weekends, right? Right. Very simple. Again, like this is for another video, honestly, because it's a big topic. Contact timelines over here. Nice thing about this is that you're going to be able to, every single time the AI has a conversation with a lead from the CRM, it will add them into this contact timeline so that we're able to track all the interactions, whether it's text message, DM, whatever it is, outbound, inbound call. It's going to show up right here with a call summary, transcript, recording, and any tags that have been that the AI added, whether it's like an answer tag, no answer, voicemail, AI voice booked, AI chat booked, all these things that's gonna help you kind of keep track of everything, and then it's gonna have an insight of the actual lead using the conversations, right? So right here, just use AI to create a contact insight, right? A little kind of description about this specific lead. Very cool stuff. And then it's going to use this information, this interaction, all these interactions for future calls, right? So let's say, again, talking about interaction memory, the AI will remember past conversations if you turn it on. So it'll have access to this contact timeline, which I think it's, pretty valuable tool. Callbacks, right? So cool thing about this is that when the AI makes a phone call, right? For example, it's usually obviously when it's outbound calls. Somebody picks up the phone, they're in a meeting, they don't have time. Hey, can you call me back in an hour? Can you call me back tomorrow at the same time? Whatever it is, the AI will self schedule itself in the platform, in the calendar within the platform. And that's what this calendar is. It will schedule itself inside this calendar, and this is for callbacks, and it will essentially call them at the time, at that specific time. So if they say an hour, it'll call them back in an hour, and you'll be able to see and track every single callback that has been scheduled. Another cool feature is that, let's say the AI calls them back and they don't respond, you can essentially push them to any automation or workflow within the CRM. So that way we can continue following up with them. They're not lost. They don't fall through the cracks, as they say. You're always constantly following up with every single lead. All right, widgets, right? And this is kind of like where you set up the orb assistant and the chat widget. I'll come back to this in a bit. This is where you connect. If you go to settings, this is where you connect to the CRM. You can give access to any member or grant access. And this right here is how you set up outbound calls within the CRM, right? Lead connector, web scraper, screenshot, follow up chat, post call SMS. Again, all these things are kind of more for another video, but you can set up the outbound call webhook very easily. Have videos, everything you need to be able to set this up properly. You can set up an agent within 5 minutes. Very simple stuff, and very easy to do. All right, now let's go back to widgets, and I'll go over kind of like um, the orb. But if you were to create any orb or a chat widget, for example, this one, you can essentially just create it, right? You name it, whatever name you want right here. Choose whatever agent you want. Change the colors, right, to match the website that you're going to add this to. You can add a rectangle or bubble. So like, let's say if this is closed, you can make it a rectangle or a bubble. And if it's a bubble, you can put whatever greeting, you know, got a question, just ask, something like that. Um, Auto open on page load if you wanted to auto open on page load. Light or dark theme. So if I was to open this will be dark or light theme. Um, you could put whatever welcome message you're gonna see right here, and this prompt is just to add like quick buttons. Like for example, buying for real estate, buying property, right? Selling property, right? Just quick buttons that people can click, and then the AI will continue the conversation, right? Just makes things super easy. Schedule an appointment, whatever it is. So when people click it, boom, the AI will just continue the conversation wherever it needs to continue. You can change the background so that depending on if it's like a light website or a dark website, you can do that. Um, Very cool stuff. And then keep in mind, this AI widget will have access to interaction memory. So if, let's say, Airbnb, cleaning, it's let's say a cleaning company, and somebody had a conversation with the AI in the past, right? Like maybe they scheduled a cleaning appointment in the past, and somebody's trying to schedule another cleaning appointment. The AI will ask them for their information, and then if it knows because of the phone number or email, it will use that to kind of understand and know what the contact ID is within the CRM, and they'll know, oh wow, I had a conversation with this person, and they'll kind of be like, hey, John, yeah, we just spoke the last time, maybe 2 weeks ago about cleaning your Airbnb in Miami. Is it the same? Is it the same property that we're gonna go to, right? Something like that. I'm just giving you an example. So it's a little bit more personalized, right? More human. So the person's gonna be like, oh, well, you remembered, even if it was like 3 months ago. Oh wow, you remembered? Yeah, yeah. Same Miami apartment. I wanted to schedule an appointment for next week, whatever the case is. I'm just giving you a scenario, and then that's basically it. And then you could just save it, and then use the embedded code. Hold on. Once you save it, you can use. Oh, there you go. The embedded code. You copy it, and you can embed it the um, into the website. All right. So now the orb widget, right? If you were to create a new widget, you can choose orb or chat, right? Let's say for the orb, I'm gonna see what it looks like on a light screen. Let me see. Let me change the color. Let's do something like that. We got Chloe, right? We got the mic. You can change medium or small. For the orb is super simple. Then you get the embed code. You copy it, right? And we're gonna go to the website that we're gonna link this to. And I'm gonna use this one as an example, right? So what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna change the orb that it currently has, right here. Open editor, and I'm just gonna delete this one. I'm gonna paste that one, and then I'm just gonna save it, right? So now when I preview it, there it is, right? So once I start interacting with it,
Hi there, this is Chloe from Voxinity AI. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
hey Chloe, it's Esteban.
Hey Esteban, great to connect with you. I'm reaching out today to learn a bit about your business and show you how AI can help handle calls and engage with your leads. We'll actually do a quick role play so you can hear it in action. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome. So, first things first, I'll need your business name and main product or service so I can set up the role play. Mind sharing those?
Yeah, roofing pros, and we specialize in residential roof replacements.
Perfect. Roofing pros specializing in residential roof replacements. Got it. All right, Esteban, here's how this will work. I'm going to act as your business receptionist, reaching out to a new lead who just inquired on Facebook about a roof replacement. I'll ask a few qualifying questions like your AI receptionist would. Are you ready to begin the role play?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Great. Here we go. Ring ring. Hi there, this is Chloe calling from Roofing Pros. I'm reaching out because I saw you inquired on Facebook about a roof replacement. Thanks so much for your interest. I'd love to help you out. First question, what type of roofing issue are you currently experiencing? Is it leaking, storm damage, or just general wear and tear?
Hey Chloe, before anything else, I just want to test you out real quick. Can you speak Spanish for me?
Of course, I'd be happy to continue in Spanish if you'd like. Would you like me to switch to Spanish for our conversation?
Yeah, let's switch.
Perfecto, continuemos en español entonces. Retomando el juego de roles, te estaba preguntando, ¿qué tipo de problema de techado estás experimentando actualmente? ¿Hay goteras, daños por tormenta o simplemente desgaste general?
Wow, great. Can you speak to me in English again? Let's just switch.
Absolutely. Switching back to English. So, picking up where we were in the role play, I was asking, what type
All right, that's it. I'm not gonna go further into it, but you can see how this is V3. It's more expressive. It sounds amazing, actually. You can see a little bit of the latency, when I respond, and then It's responds back. It's a little bit, and it can be a little bit more when it's calling up tools, calling up, let's say like tagging, uh, looking up, slots for a calendar when it's scheduling. It's a little bit more. It's not like a crazy amount of latency. I feel like when you're having the conversation human to human, I mean, nobody talks super fast, Um, they take a little bit of time to process, when somebody's asking a question, whatever it is. Um, so I feel like to me, the latency is not necessarily an issue, um, to me at least. But You know, so it depends on who you're working with. It depends on the person. If they feel like it's a little under latency, then you could just switch it to Flash. Flash is much quicker. It's still a very high quality voice, in my opinion. Um, and again, it's just about testing and seeing which one you prefer. Let me see, and that's basically it. I showed you everything. I kind of gave you a quick walkthrough, a preview of what's inside the platform. Um, Super excited about this, honestly. So that's basically it. If you guys have any questions about this, feel free to reach out. Happy to answer them. And that's it. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.